I'm here at my compost bin and I want to show you what kind of an awesome neighbor I've got. Check out that pile of grass clippings. That, my friend, is what friends are for. See, if you look behind me, there's a school, K through 12. Pretty good sized campus. And my buddy Dale is the groundskeeper over there. So instead of putting his grass clippings in the trash, he gives them to me. And I just leave them an opening over here by the compost bins. He drives in, dumps them off, and we have beautiful compost going on here. So it started out with all leaves. And I went from leaves to adding some grass clippings, and as you can see, this is actually from the bottom of the pile. I pulled it out just a few minutes ago, and it's beautiful. It's nice, it's moist, but it's not like dripping wet. It's black, and I mean it could go a little farther, but it's getting there. And once I get it all screened out, it'll be perfect. This is more of insurance for the future, for the vitality of my garden. When I saw this lovely heap of green grass clippings, I felt like it was necessary to give my buddy Dale a shout out. So thank you, Dale. I appreciate you very much, sir. This has been here for quite some time. I got all the local people that were willing to do so, to drop off their fall leaves. And we have a lot of oak trees around here, so there are lots of leaves to be had. And then I took and I ran them through my electric blower, which had a vacuum attachment and a shredder, and I shredded them up and put them in the compost bin here. I actually have 8 of these, so oh, there's a lot of compost up in here. Anyway, I want to show you what it looks like when you dig into the compost pile after it's been here for a while. I do not turn these compost piles, although I'm about to do that because I got this fresh load of grass, so I want to mix it in, but so everything kind of composts together. I don't have layers of uncomposted material per se that way. And also the stuff that's breaking down beneath is already full of the good kind of microbes and bacteria that it needs to break down, and it will basically just move on to the next bit and start breaking that down too. And you see this black with the white, that is spent potting soil that I just threw on the top there, and I'm gonna mix it in, so it'll be potting soil again eventually. So I'm gonna go right down the middle. And I see it's been relatively wet around here. You see there's a little trash. That's part of being next to a school, unfortunately. So I'm regularly digging trash out of the garden and the grounds around me. But you can see it's starting to be a bit blacker down underneath. And yeah, there we go. I can see some of these are coffee grounds. The reason you turn the compost pile is what I was saying earlier, is to mix it up and give the stuff on the bottom that's sort of activated, like this. It's already activated, so it will spread see, I've got millions of microbes and bacteria in my hands at the moment. If it'll spread to the uncomposted stuff and start making it compost a little faster. And if you find trash in your compost, just pick it out. It's no big deal. I know people are purists and think, oh gosh, I don't want this plastic or whatever in my garden. Well, it doesn't have to go in your garden. You can just pick it out, just like I just did. So you can see this pile is not moving along too fast, but it's still active, and that handful that I just showed you there was pretty warm. Here's some of the lower layers, and you can see lots more of it is composting already. Actually, that's moist, but You see I'm squeezing it, nothing's coming out of it. That's a good sign. You can see that I mixed the newly, well, not so newly, composted materials. I mixed them with the newly cut green grass, and that'll activate it all and make it get going. This compost is actually pretty cool, so that tells me that it's finished. The nice black beautiful compost I have going on there on top, but it'll work because it'll activate that green grass, and that green grass will break down quickly to make some more beautiful compost. Had some questions on Instagram, or really someone questioning me about my production of biochar, and well, they weren't being very nice, but so here is one of my char piles here, and what I do is I actually do beach bonfires for people who pay for beach bonfires down at the beach, since I'm just an hour north of the beaches here of Northwest Florida Panhandle. And I thought to myself, man, here I am making biochar and getting paid for it. So I'd bring it home with me, the ashes, and you can see there's still some white ash here. This is actually a pretty new pile. But I leave out the piles. This is a bit older. And you can see it's just perfect biochar nuggets right there on top. And it's ready to be inoculated, which I'll do with some of those green grass clippings because they're loaded with microbes because they've, you know, just been growing. And so grass clippings kind of get broken down fast, and so they get attacked by the microbes basically and start breaking down like crazy, which the biochar has a nice porous surface area. It's a little difficult to see without it sort of being focused in. I'll take some pictures so you can see a little more detail, but it has little cracks and crevices in it, and little pores. I can see them perfectly, but you know, I'll have to give it a little bit of a zoom for you to be able to see the exact pores that I'm seeing on the ends of the pieces of char here. Anyway, those little holes, the pores, are where the water escaped from the wood when it was burning, and it leaves a nice little cavity there for microbes to habitate. Sorry, whatever that word is, for microbes to live in. That's what we're talking about. Let's not be too complicated here. Anyway, so what I'll do is I'll mix the grass clippings before they're totally broken down, and I'll mix them with the char, and that will activate the biochar. And then I can either crush it and put it over the garden, or I can just throw it out in the garden and let it, you know, mix in with the compost as time marches on, it gets rained on and all that stuff. So good stuff. And I'm taking something that would have ordinarily been dumped in the landfill, and taking it and using it for something useful and adding some vitality and some carbon to my garden. So if you look closely, of course it was in focus when I didn't press the button. There you go. You see on the end there are pores in the wood. That's what I was talking about earlier. It's a little bit harder to see it on selfie cam, but when you put it out here a little bit, you can really focus in on it and see what I'm talking about. That's where all the microbes will live when this is on the ground or in the ground. And it is straight up carbon pretty much, so it really won't break down anymore, leaving a nice home for microbes for years and years and years to come. Well, I'm all done with the compost. It's nice and mixed up. As you can see, I got some of the greens still on top, but I mixed it up. Everything's underneath there. And that sort of brings me to a point that I wanted to bring back up about people criticizing other people for their methodology. You know, we're all trying to do the best we can, and it's not helpful to criticize. If you want to give somebody some help, ask them a question, and kind of see where they are. Because just like the guy who criticized me about my method of creating biochar, he didn't know what I know already about biochar. He just started immediately criticizing me and telling me, this is not the best way to do this, and blah, 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 blah. And, throwing out as many acronyms as he could and trying to make himself look smart. But instead, he looks snobby. So, please don't do that. Let's encourage one another. We're all doing the best we can, and the best thing you can do is get out there and just try it. So if you do something wrong, or you think you've done something wrong, ask, and maybe someone will have the answer to the question that arises. But don't worry about it. Just try it. Just try it. And for the rest of us, some of us know more than others about certain things, and less about other things. Let's try not to criticize one another and not discourage anyone from doing exactly what I want you to do, which is grow and eat it. Till next time, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to support us on Patreon, we'd love to have that kind of support so we can make more videos like this. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. Grow and eat it.